Energy Industries, Dr. Roodal Moonilal, as we take a closer look at the progress made so far. But actually, Dr. Moonilal is not in studio with us. The TTT Limited crew is bringing you a live connection with Dr. Moonilal, and he is somewhere very special this morning that he'll be telling us about. Good morning, Minister.
Hi, good morning to you and good morning to all your viewers, listeners, online followers in Trinidad and Tobago and across the region. Yes, we are this morning at the Point Lisas Industrial Development Estate at Portside, where it's a very special evening last night and this morning. We are here live, of course. I just want to begin by thanking the Honorable Jolene John, Minister of Works and Infrastructure, the leadership, executive management of the DECO, and the workers, of course, who are here this morning participating since last night. There has been a massive and dramatic activity at this port, and we want to thank them for facilitating our presence this morning. What has happened is that Touchstone Exploration, a major energy company operating in Trinidad and Tobago, this morning and early into the last evening, they have brought in at this port extremely heavy equipment and sophisticated equipment arrived the last evening for major installations at Rio Claro, Cascadura gas facility in Rio Claro. Those extremely large, heavy equipment came in as part of a gas compression production facility that they are expanding at the field. We are now seeing the loading of some of the equipment at Point Lisas, and that's what we came this morning. We were invited from last night, but of course we preferred not to sleep on the port. So we came this morning to see some activity here as they load to transport heavy equipment to Rio Claro, the Cascadura gas facility. This is the latest investment by Touchstone that includes the large-scale equipment, components incidentally exceeding 50 feet in length and over 15 feet in height. It has been transported from Houston by another major local, and I underline local logistics company, Ramps, and we want to congratulate Ramps as well for their part in this activity and other activities in the sector. Our presence this morning underscores our commitment to international operators interested in investing in Trinidad and Tobago. We give great support to ensure that this happens in a timely manner. And that's why we were here this morning. I just want to state, because it dovetails into what we are talking about this morning, that this pipeline is from Beach to Guayari. It's a 20-inch pipeline operated by NGC from Beach Guaya to Point Lisas Industrial Estate, and there's a tie-in for this project. What has happened is over the years, because of fluctuations in pressure and so on, they have not been able to extract maximum gas production. So I don't want to be too complicated, but what the equipment does, and this massive importation of heavy equipment out of Houston, what it does, it stabilizes pressure in the pipeline so that over a period of time, we actually produce more gas. So this is really a gas expansion initiative, moving from what I'm told to be 10 million standard cubic feet to almost 20 million. So it's almost 100% increase in gas expansion from Touchstone alone. And I thought this morning that we will come here to look at some of the equipment in the background. I believe it is moving now. I hope it's not moving too close to me, but it is moving, and I'm assured by the health and safety people here that it is safe for us to be here and we are in a safe zone. But that is part of the equipment that is on the move behind me. This will boost the rate of producing wells, which are, as I said, currently affected by large differentials in line pressure. So we are extremely pleased. We want to congratulate Touchstone for this compression project that will allow operational stability and long-term benefits. This is expected to be online in June 2026. So that I begin this morning with a live operation in the energy sector, really to make a dramatic statement that this is a sector on the move. And one company late last night into this morning, they are now going to take, you're seeing some footage of last night of loading and so on. They are now on the move with police, with other security forces, to move from Hoover to Rio Claro, which is a massive procession. We want to apologize for the inconvenience on the roads that some motorists will face in the coming hours, but this equipment is important to double gas production at the Cascadura gas facility. Apart from that, Vimala, as you know, in the sector in the last 12 months, we have had a turnaround. We have had a turnaround in terms of production. We have stabilized, NGC has stabilized gas, the production of gas, the aggregate and supply of gas, so to speak, in the last 11 years or so. We have been below par in terms of gas production, and oil production has declined. We can now confirm that we have increased oil production from roughly 52,000 barrels to about 55,000 barrels, and that is a significant increase. We have stabilized the gas production. NGC was able to pay, as you recall, over $158 million in dividends, which was paid to their shareholders. We have an exciting project called Manatee Plus, which is in tandem with Shell, where we have been able to increase gas production, I believe, by 10 to what could be 20%. So these are the exciting news. Apart from that, I think you are aware that ExxonMobil returned to Trinidad and Tobago in August 2025 for a massive exploration activity on the northeast coast of Trinidad. And I'm happy to reveal that they are now undertaking the largest seismic acquisition of data that has ever been done in Trinidad and Tobago territory. And we're extremely pleased with that. We are informed that almost 60% of that work has finished. And indeed, we would like to ensure that that finishes in good time by, let's say, August 2026. And we will get some news by September, hopefully, on that ExxonMobil project. But we are very optimistic. In a quiet way, we are optimistic about that project coming on stream. And of course, there are lots more I'll report as we move along.
Minister, when you entered office 1 year ago, what was your first mandate for yourself? What did you set out to achieve when you entered office?
When we entered office, the Prime Minister gave us a mandate to increase gas and oil production, which is the primary feedstock for petrochemical sector for the Atlantic LNG global facility. And we have been doing that. We have been, in less than 1 year, increased production by 5.5%. We have stabilized gas production, as I've said, and several projects. I can name out about 11 projects that will incrementally increase the production of gas and the supply of gas. As you know, the last government, with all the talk and with all the hot wind, left us in a situation where we had gas curtailment, where we had to, farm out almost gas to the downstreamers in the Point Lisa estates and so on. And we are addressing that. That is a mandate. The other mandate is to work in this new era of regional energy cooperation and collaboration with our energy partners, primarily in Suriname and Guyana. And I think the country has seen a reawakening of the relationship between the energy sector in Trinidad and Tobago, Suriname, and Guyana with the recent visit of Excellency Mohammed Irfan Ali and their commitment to Trinidad and Tobago and our collaboration. That is taking many forms, and some exciting news will come forward on that. There's a Suriname Energy Festival, Energy Week coming up, and we expect some more interaction with the government and people of Suriname at that time. So that was our immediate mandate, but we also had to clean up certain areas, particularly in NGC and other state enterprises where we have had waste, corruption, mismanagement. As you know, NGC was infamous for throwing away $200 million into buying equipment for, I think, Train 1 at Point Fortin, and then having to literally throw away $200 million in equipment. They also bought equipment for Beachfield, I believe, and between Beachfield and NGC Point Fortin, where they were making an investment actually to Train 1, only to be told by the partners down there that they were not invested in Train 1. I think the NGC lost hundreds of millions of dollars there and hundreds of millions of dollars in spare parts for a facility on the southern coast in the Guaya area. So We had to rectify that, and the board and management of NGC has been working tirelessly to ensure that we return to profit, which we now have declared an enormous profit, the highest profit in 11 years of $3.2 billion at the NGC under the United National Congress. So that has been our early mandate, but we continue. The work is not stopping, of course. We have several issues to put on the table. As you know, we have approved an energy hub. This is a sector where, as everyone knows, we often say as a sort of cliche, time is money. In this sector, time is literally money, because we can lose up to 120 million United States dollars if decisions are not taken in a timely manner. It is a sector like that. And we have now established the Energy Accelerator Hub, which is getting positive reviews across the world, energy industries in the world, where we have brought together all the agencies to fast-track decisions and approvals and licenses in the energy sector. And I want to take this opportunity to congratulate, first, we will congratulate others, but first, the Environmental Management Authority, led by Chairman Ramlal and others there, who have been really in the leadership of the Energy Accelerator Hub and ensuring that CECs and other relevant documents are provided to the energy companies in real time. They have been doing that, and we are extremely pleased with the response to the Energy Accelerator Hub by EMA and other departments as well, the Town Country Planning Work Permit Committee. In fact, the companies are now shocked by the speed at which we receive work permits given the Accelerator Hub and its work. We are now putting together what is called a dashboard to promote jobs. As you know, the Prime Minister has given us a strong mandate. And tomorrow, incidentally, at our major congress to be held at Hoover, beginning at 1 p.m., major congress there, the Prime Minister will deliver the feature address. And at that feature address, there will be many features, but one we believe will be on an entire speech, an entire segment dealing with jobs. And on that matter, we're excited to hear what the Prime Minister has to say. We want to invite all of Trinidad and Tobago to get to Cuba tomorrow in good time. There'll be a lot of traffic and so on. Get there to hear speakers, but the future speaker, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa, who will address this issue of jobs. And I can say from the energy sector, we are now working on a dashboard where we will want to publicize much more the jobs that are being created, particularly in the private sector, because jobs are being created now. We get a little poster here and they're telling us about 20 jobs here, 20 jobs, 10 jobs, but it's not integrated. And we want to integrate that and make a dashboard that all qualified citizens could look at. So that's something that we are speaking about at this time and putting in place. So there's a lot of excitement taking place in the region, in Trinidad and Tobago. I can tell you as well, we have altered the policy to deal with what is called mature maritime fields, where we have actually given certain incentives to those companies that will work on exploration and production in mature fields. They are given an incentive approved by Cabinet to ensure that we get back to work, as we say in Trinidad and Tobago. We want to keep it pumping.
All right, Minister, you've advanced cross-border gas projects, particularly the Dragon field. So let's talk about that now. What's the current status and how confident are you about the timelines and, all these discussions that you've been having about Dragon? They're also positive.
Well, what I can say is that throughout a very difficult period last year, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa maintained an enormous degree of tenacity and courage, and she was extremely steadfast when other leaders were weak, when other major players in our sector and elsewhere showed, a weak back, less than strong spinal cord. Mrs. Prasad Bisesa stood her ground, and she remains strong. And work with the United States as a major ally to ensure that there were changes in neighboring Venezuela and so on. And I can confirm now that our cross-border fields with Venezuela, primarily Burkina and Loran, we are well on the way to concluding agreements and discussions in terms of the exploration and production of gas from those fields. The across-border field is called Dragon, as you know, and Dragon is a major project which we have never given up on. While we were critical of the PNM's handling of that project, we never gave up on that. And when we came into office, the Prime Minister mandated us to work with the United States to ensure that we get an OFAC license. And the Prime Minister herself did actually cross the T, dot the I's for our applications for an OFAC license. And we were extremely pleased late last year to receive an OFAC license to continue discussions, negotiations vis-a-vis Dragon. And the Dragon project is on the way. We are now in discussions with our partners to ensure that we bring up the timeline somewhat, given the start and stop experience we have had last year over some of the political and conflict-related issues. So the Dragon is on the way. Lauren, Kokina, we are talking to our partners. We expect it's a work in progress. We expect in a few days, a few weeks or so, that we will be in Venezuela with a diplomatic mission discussing not only energy, but I imagine other issues as well in other sectors with other relevant officials. And we are working very hard because those cross-border and across-the-border gas fields also has an enormous impact on our energy security as we go forward. So that is something we are proud of in our first year, to have stabilized the situation revolving around those three major gas fields. The numbers are there for persons to check it, but we need to get to 3.5 billion or so. We are PNM left us at 2.4 billion, and the interventions of those across the border and cross-border, we expect to be up to about 3.3 billion, almost maximum optimal capacity for all our production facilities at the industrial estates and at Atlantic LNG.
Well, Dr. Moonilal, we take a short break, and when we come back, we continue this discussion. So we're so happy that you're having this with us, especially as we wrap up this first week of just talking about the government's first year in office. So stay tuned, a short break, and we come back.
Happens before the lights come on, before the crowd pours in, before the magic hits the stage. This is your all access pass. Sneak peek with Junior K takes you behind the scenes of the biggest cultural moments and the hottest events across TNT. From the sound checks to the stage setups, from final rehearsals to exclusive interviews. If it's about to be big, we're already there. Catch Sneak Peek airing daily on TTT and relive every moment on all our social media platforms. Sneak Peek with Junior K, where the story starts before the spotlight.
Your world moves fast, so do we. TTT News brings you the people, events, and issues that matter most. Stay informed, stay ahead. TTT News, every night at 7. TTT News, committed, accurate, relevant.
Well, we are joined this morning by Dr. Roodal Moonilal, Energy and Energy Industries Minister, and he's currently off-site right now. And Dr. Moonilal, continue our conversation. I have to get to this point. I want to turn now to the refinery. So there have been ongoing discussions about restarting operations. How close are we in this process?
Well, what I can say is, something related to the refinery before I get there. One of our major achievements in the last 10 months or so, and I'm extremely proud but extremely sad that we had to. Prime Minister Kamla Persad distributed checks to the relatives, the surviving relatives of the victims of that horrific pipeline accident of a few years ago at Pointe-à-Pierre, South Trinidad, where, as you know, lives were lost. And the last administration pussyfoot on this matter for several months and did nothing. It was left to Mrs. Persad to present at that time 3 checks of $1 million each to the 3 legal representatives of the families of the deceased persons, the victims, and we were extremely sad. That's a sad thing to participate in, but we're extremely pleased that we were able to do that within 1 year. And that is it's very significant for those families and so on. I can say that we have had expressions of interest. We have had talks with entities throughout the Caribbean and across the globe. Quite recently in Washington, we have had discussions with officials of the Republic of Nigeria and other places as well on the refinery upstart. We're extremely optimistic. In Africa, incidentally, there have been several refineries that have had restarts, some even longer than 7 years have been down. And we were excited to learn of some of the West African developments. We are in talks with several entities concerning both operationalizing commercial structure and, of course, financing. And we are coming to the end of that period now, and very soon the Cabinet and the Prime Minister will be involved in the government to take some decisions as we go forward. I prefer not to speak at length on that because I can't prejudice discussion of the Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago. But we are coming very soon now to some key decisions on that matter, and we are very happy with the interest, and we are happy with a scenario where, of course, the taxpayer will not have to expend any significant amount of capital investment, but we can get that from the international private sector, from the investing community, and of course we can have a reputable world-class operator to work with our labor force here, labor force from Trinidad, local content, and restart that refinery. So we're excited with that.
Minister, before we get ready to wrap very soon, as I have you here, I must ask you about today's front page headline about that increase in fare from Caribbean Airlines. Can you talk about that for us this morning?
What I can say is that I've also, of course, taken note of it, but I want to state categorically, and I'm authorized to state categorically, that this headline is misleading, it is incorrect, it is wrong. The government of Trinidad and Tobago, the Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago, has taken no such decision. The Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago has not discussed that matter. The Cabinet has not taken any decision on that matter. It is certainly not government policy. It may be the view of the relevant minister involved, but that is not government policy. It is not a determination from the Cabinet of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, so that it cannot and will not stand. And I just wanted to eradicate from the minds of citizens in Tobago and Trinidad that headline is incorrect, is inaccurate. It is, for us, very disturbing that it is the headline, but it is not the view of the government of Trinidad and Tobago. It is not the policy of the government or the cabinet chaired by the Honorable Tamla Prasad Bissessa, and we distance ourselves from that headline and the implications of that. So I will state that categorically this morning that headline does not represent the view and the policy of the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and we hope that the mischief makers afloat, and they know who they are in the opposition and elsewhere, that those mischief makers and doomsday people and so on with their agents around will not use that to really go in the mud and play in the mud. While we have all the good news coming up, while this country has been saved, has been rescued, while we talk about a massive program of real job creation, we will hear about real jobs, productive jobs, long-term jobs. When we are dealing with that, when in every sector we have given out land, while in every sector we have been able to provide more water, light up recreation grounds and so on, that for years have been in darkness, to support culture and so on, and we'll hear much more about that. It is of course not my purview to speak too much to areas outside of the energy sector, which I hope I've done justice to this morning. So to answer your question, no, nada. It is not the policy of the government of Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you for clarifying that for us this morning, Minister. Now, finally, based on the momentum you've outlined for us this morning, what can we realistically expect to see from the energy sector over the next 12 months?
In the next 12 months, we expect oil production will increase again by hopefully 5 to 7,000 barrels of oil per day. We also expect that we will have an expansion in gas availability in the next year, and certainly with the Manatee project is on the move in terms of its construction side, so that we expect that that will be a big lift for the sector. The very development I spoke to you about, the Cascadura gas field, where I'm here reminding you at Point Lisa, where we have just uploaded enormous heavy equipment.
Unfortunately, we have some technical difficulties now with that connection with Dr. Moonilal, but I do believe that he was explaining that Touchstone exploration is really marking that key milestone. As he mentioned when we began the interview, it is the commissioning phase of the booster compressor at the Cascadura facility. And Cascadura is one of the newer gas-producing sites in Trinidad, and it's already contributing to increased output with wells like the Carapal Ridge 3, and that is now online. So the addition of this compressor, just so you know, it is important because it will help to stabilize production and really improve gas flow, allowing for more consistent and reliable supply to the national system. Well, I want to say thank you very much to the Minister for joining us this morning. That was Dr. Roodal Moonilal, Energy and Energy Industries Minister, joining us to unpack the government's first year in office. Well, as we continue this morning, it is a beautiful and bright, sunshiny Friday, just about to